Troll Lord Games. Join the fray.
Hello! It's Ask Me Anything from the Troll Lords. I assume everything is up and running. Davis is lingering around, and we are contemplating on how to get him in here. Alright, where is my crew? Where is Chuck? There's Chuck. Alright, there you go. How's it going, 𝚃𝚘𝚘𝚕𝚔? Real long shot. Yeah, Davis showed back up at, I don't know, 8 minutes until 4. So, and I've only patched someone in once, and that was about a year ago, so I can't remember how to do it. I just saw the 𝚃𝚘𝚕𝚔 Kickstarter news. Yeah, I'm really excited about the layout. We've been tweaking it quite a bit. It's got a little bit to go, but I think the information will be easily accessible, available, and overall just a little bit more friendly. I'm afraid it's going to we're going to end up putting the book over 200 pages, but that's okay. If we end up over 200 pages, we end up over 200 pages. She's also going to have an index in it, so that's going to be a chunk. I'm throwing the character reference sheet. It's been thrown out, so it gives us a couple of pages, and all of the art from the spell section's being tossed. It doesn't need any art in that section. That's the encyclopedic section, I suppose. Let's see, how's it going, Willie Dorans? How's it going, man? Johnny Maestrick, how's everybody? CH Wolfgang, how's it going? I got lots of news. It doesn't ever stop around here, I don't think. I don't think, which is good. It's very, very good. We are absolutely hammering the Starship Warden. It is rolling out as quickly as we can, but it's a rather, I don't know. It's got a lot of moving parts to it, or non-moving parts, as you might guess, because it's just, I think it's 19. Is it 19 things that come with it? It's a lot. So getting that all together in the midst of everything else, normal workaday stuff, has been entertaining, to say the absolute least. But we definitely rolled over. Very good, M5. I hope you enjoy it. M5 has said that he got his Monsters and Treasures 5e Kickstarter book yesterday. That Kickstarter's all shipped and done, and the Warden is over 50% of the pledges have been fulfilled. I don't know if we're going to make it by Friday. I was hoping we'd make it by Friday, but to get the whole thing wrapped up. But definitely by early next week, we'll have that thing all put to bed, and just in time for the Castle Keeper's Guide, because it is at the printers now. All the plates have been made, and they've started printing it. So I'm hoping, and this is a stretch, but I'm hoping that we will have that shipping to us in the first week of July, which would just be absolutely fantastic. Probably won't be. It'll probably be the second week of July would be my guess. But regardless, we should have the Warden all on the way, the Monster Book all on the way, and the plan is, if things go according to schedule, I'm always, when we have so many projects, I try to, every part of the company, from the printing to the editing, everybody's working on something. So in theory, as the Warden goes out, CKG's coming in, the Player's Handbook should be going back, or going to the printers, along with the Player's Archive and the Spellbook. So with a little bit of luck, we'll have those three wrapped up right when the CKG arrives, so we can immediately start shipping the CKG while they're printing the Player's Handbook. And then we're going to fall down on... Yeah, sadly, there is a schedule. It gets bumped up and down all over the place. And then we'll all hands on deck to wrap that NPC book up. It's finished, and it's edited, and it's mostly laid out. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and get my fingers into it. Once I get the high-level files of the players to Peter, and then I'll jump on the NPC element. And so that, with luck, by the time the Player's Handbook is rolling back, the NPC book is at the printers. And that is the plan. In 𝚃𝚘𝚘𝚕𝚔, it is a beast of a book. That book, the Starship Warden, is 650 something pages. It's just monstrously huge. When Will Monsters and Treasures have aired 5e be for sale generally? Should be next week. I believe the digital file went on sale in OBS this week, but we're gonna let all the Kickstarter backers get it before we dive into that. So, but it should be next Monday or Tuesday. We should roll that out. My order this week was for the Storytellers books. Looking forward to reading those. Those are great books, and we're actually working on a third one. I'm not. Jim Ward and Jason Vega is. I'm just overseeing it, so I'm not doing any actual work on it. Not yet, anyways. But yes, we've got a third one of those coming out. Those are just great books. Lord Dailies, yeah. You know, the schedules around here are so funny. I had very carefully laid out with the printer. And this is the funniest, latest snafu. I had very carefully laid out with the printer that the Monsters and Treasure book would arrive, and it was going to be 7 or 8 days, give or take, before the Starship Warden arrived. That gave us plenty of time to ship the M&T of A, which is fine. So the M&T of A arrived the same day that the Warden arrived. So they arrived at the same time. That caused an immediate problem in the storage room, which we had to move a whole bunch of stuff around, get things in, get stuff packed away, pull out some MTAs, and then the MTAs that we weren't going to ship immediately, we buried beneath Starship Wardens. Well, then we got back the next day, started shipping the Monsters and Treasures of Air, and discovered the binding issue, which some of you may or may be aware of. There was a problem with the binding on the M&T of A. And we went through 8 boxes and every one of them was damaged, so I called the printer. They said send them back. So we had to go down, pull the Warden out, get the Monsters and Treasures that we had buried out, repalletize everything, and get that back to the printers. And in the meantime, because I had prepped everything for the Monsters and Treasures of Air, we had everything ready to go for the M&T of A. The boxes, the stretch rewards, everything was ready to go. But everything wasn't ready to go for the Warden. There's a couple of hangers on, a couple of problems. So suddenly we had 2 dead weeks where we weren't shipping anything. It was quite irritating. I had many choice words to say. And poor Tim, he gets the rambling. He's the only one I really unload on when things go south at Troller. I'll send him a Skype or a text or call him just ranting about something, and he has no idea what I'm talking about because I'm just mad about something and I speak in half sentences. And all of that. So he's like, sure, Steve, okay, Steve. Yeah, that's the way that plays out. So, as someone pointed out, asked in the comments to the update with a picture of the Warden poster, are the decks backwards? That's been fixed, Wolfgang. Yeah, it was all flipped backwards. I got a hold of Jason. Whoever said that in the comment section, Tim let me know immediately. I shouted at Jason Walton, and he's fixed that. He sent that over late last week, I think we got it. So. And that's one of the snafus. I had actually forgotten that product entirely, and that stretch reward entirely, and which is fine because Jason Walton is insanely fast when he's doing his art. But and then he flipped stuff, so that was entertaining. But that's been fixed, so that was fixed. If it all goes according to schedule, no kidding, something else would go awry. And yesterday, let me tell you, this is just one of those things. So we have our own print shop, and we ordered, for those of you who backed the Gaxmore 5th edition Kickstarter, you should have gotten a bunch of maps. If you ordered the higher pledge levels, you got a bunch of maps that were printed on 100-pound digital text paper, which is this really nice, good paper. Not quite card stock, but kind of close to card stock. And we got it in bulk. We got a huge amount of it because it was being discontinued. It's good paper. So we printed, 1,000 sheets of maps or something. I don't know, whatever it was. Several thousand, whatever it was. No problems, no hiccups. So I took, since we had so much of that, and that was going to be for the Warden Kickstarter as well, all the broadsides. We've got the encounter sheets, as a whole bunch of stuff, chronology, all kinds of stuff. All day yesterday, probably 2.5 hours. We've farted around with that printer trying to, it wouldn't take the paper no matter what we did. I suspect it's a fuser issue to the point that I threw up my hands and eventually contacted a local printer I know, and they're printing it. So it's just been one of those things that just about anything knocks. It's not quite like the German timetable of moving troops around in World War I, but it sort of feels like that. So any kind of hiccup messes it up. So it's probably closer to the Austro-Hungarian timetable. It's all messed up to begin with and never truly would have worked. I think most schedules are battered or broken creatures. Yes, they are. Software engineering truism. It can be on time, under budget, or error-free. Pick any two. Yeah, right. If you're lucky. I just listened to the podcast with Jim Ward, with him talking about Starship Warden and how he expected other people to name their ships with names as well, but everyone used Warden. It was fun to listen. That's great. I love Jim. And Lord Daly's new monster, much battered schedule. The monster appears as any one large number of items commonly used to create a schedule. Everything from tape to pens, rulers, and ledgers, stamps. Yeah, no kidding. And it just grinds you down. Only grappling attacks can be used against the much battered schedule. Did the bad binding at MTA use up your stockpile supply of good paper from last year? No, that went back to all of our hardbacks are done through Walsworth, a printer up in Missouri. So we had to palletize it, shrink wrap it, get a truck in, get all of that shipped back up and out. And it was just a monumental task to get all of that done once we'd already kind of put it in our warehouse. But because our warehouse is not very big and it's pretty tight. So it was just one of those things. And I got to tell you what's weird. We've been with Walsworth since Gary Gygax's World Builder, which is the Gygaxian Fantasy Worlds #2. So the second printing came out. The first book we did with Walsworth was that second printing. So that's going to be 2003, 2004, somewhere around in there. So that's how long we've been with Walsworth. And I've had 2 books that we've had to ship back to them to have rebound. That's how good they are. They're fantastic printers. The first one was the Castles and Crusades, Monsters and Treasures of Erd. And the second one was the 5th edition, Monsters and Treasures of Erd. So I'm not sure what it is about that book, but I'm not printing it again. We're not doing that again. Much Battered Schedule produces an R of warped reality. There you go. -2 to all skill checks, attacks, etc. And you can only act every other turn. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly the skill that the Much Battered Schedule should have. There is no doubt. Thank you for the subscription, Lord Gazumba. Very much appreciated. Hope you're having a good day, Jay. We're rambling into yet another week. Let's see, I enjoyed watching Elisa Faden on Lord Gazumba's show last Friday. She mentioned the work she does with TLG Goods. She is fantastic, and what she's put in the Castle Keeper's Guide is beautiful. And she and I started a project, but I need to get with her, see if we're still going. We got a really exciting project, but I know she's insanely busy, and our Kickstarters have eaten us a lot. Love the Schlieffen Plan reference. Yes, it's it's like the Schlieffen Plan. And I was reading not very long ago, the Austro-Hungarian deployment schedule in World War I was absolutely insane. They had sort of the German ability to, do it very precisely, to have very precise schedules and keep everything on time, except they decided to have kind of a floating army group, B-Staffel, I think it was called. It could either go to the Carpathians or go south to Serbia to fight wherever they wanted it to. And despite Russia's mobilizing against Austria, they still sent B-Staffel to Serbia, and then they had to. So they sent all these troops down to Serbia, detrained, and then retrained, and went back to the Carpathians. So they were a month just sitting on trains and at train stations waiting to be shipped. Those must have been some extraordinarily bored soldiers. Well, probably happy soldiers compared to what they were fixing to experience. World War I is just a fascinating, absolutely fascinating subject for me. I've read a small mountain of books on it. It's good stuff, crazy stuff. Stephen Chenault, the Mulkey of Trollword Games, yeah. Yeah, more like Falkenhayn or more like Conrad from Austria-Hungary. I want this to happen, but this is interrupting me. I don't care. So that's the way that plays out. But for those just joining us, I'm Stephen Chenault, CEO of Trollword Games. We've been cantankerously publishing since 1999. 2000 is when we debuted. And AMA is just our chance to kind of sit and talk with everybody and anybody who's interested in whatever we do. So whatever questions you have about Trollword Games, products we make, games we make, Kickstarters we run, the industry that we're embedded in, like an old deer tick. Deer tick, I said, deer tick. Just throw them in the feed here, and we'll tackle them as best we can. Since the virus restrictions are going away, I was wondering if there's any progress on the organized play, or is it on the back burner until all the Kickstarter is finished? It remains on the back burner. I'm very encouraged by the last 10 days of progress. The Monsters and Treasures of Air shipped out extremely fast, and Warden is going seemingly as fast, despite the occasional hiccup that we've got, and the CKG will follow that. But in the meantime, I'm already finding that my end of things, the stuff that I kind of have to micromanage on this stuff, is my time is cleaning up. Because the CKG is mostly done, the Player's Handbook is mostly done, the NPC Almanac is mostly done, the stuff that I've kind of got to juggle. So as soon as that's done, and I'm a little bit more comfortable with time, I'm going to sit down and we're going to launch. What we're going to do, if I'm going to do it for the Twitch feed and the Patreon backers, we're going to do a very mini virtual convention, free of charge. No one's getting charged anything. Run some games and do some panels like this. Pretty excited about it. We've got kind of what we want to do, but I'm going to have to impart to Tim and Chuck, who manage that side of the business, what I want and how it should look, so that they can tackle that and make it happen, and then put their own twist on it, because both of them have a great command of the way these platforms actually work, as opposed to the way I pretend that they work. So very soon, I hope within the next 4 weeks, we've got some kind of, and it's going to be, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be very fast. We'll do one like an 8-hour thing, and just invite people to come in to see what we're doing, to see what the future holds. And we'll probably shoot that out. Discord, Twitch, and Patreon. Definitely Patreon, folks. I would love to see organized play. I'm hoping there's some substance to it for the future. That is all over the place. We discussed that too often for the amount of actual results from our discussions. It's a little bit frustrating to me, but the organized play requires so much, energy and effort and time to dive into it that it's one of those things. It's coming down the pipe. I think the big thing for TOG right now is to get the Player's Handbook 8th printing done. Once the 8th printing is done, we're kind of stepping into a new era. We'll have plenty of stock of everything. The new look for the Castles and Crusades will be out. That's our flagship, for those of you who don't know. And then all of that energy, effort, and time that has gone into kind of retooling that will no longer be a drain on our collective brain pans, and then we can get back to doing things like conventions and online stuff, organized play, whatever it is. It's probably the biggest source of my frustration these days is these Kickstarters they just keep fighting. They don't want to give in. They just keep going. Let's see. Thank you for the follow, Black Falcon. Much appreciated. If you haven't followed us, please do so. We got quite a few shows all week, but I'm here every Tuesday at 4 and every Thursday at 4. Every game company I know doing organized play, FFG and WizKids are delaying possibly in 2020 until 2022. Yeah, I think there's going to be a serious comfort level that a good percentage of people have to achieve before any kind of conventions, in-person conventions and events, can really blossom, for lack of a better word. And I know a lot of people are they're eyeing, as many of you know who follow the stream, I've quit following the news. I have entirely too much to do to figure out what's going on with this, that, or the other, but my wife mentioned to me, she's flying out to Montana in August, and she mentioned to me that some of her friends are pretty worried about the Delta variant, and I thought, Delta Airlines, are they still in business? What? Oh, Delta? And then I asked her some idiotic question about it, and she said, no, the Delta variant, and I kept thinking in my head, I was trying not to look like an idiot, and I kept thinking in my head, what is just Delta like a small airline? What's going on? But apparently Delta variant is a variant of the COVID virus, so I had no idea. But my point being, I think until people get kind of comfortable with where we are in the world with this thing, all of this organized play conventions are going to have to, they're going to be a tough sell, I think. Delia Airlines. I don't know what's going on. I can't follow it all. It really, and it's, the news is it's just all over the place. It's just depending on where you go or what you read, it's just all over the place. So I just quit, and plus I just have entirely too much to do. Troll Lord Games has really, in the last 3 years, but really, we've got a nice growth going on, and anything that interrupts that, I don't want anything to do with it. So I got to tell you, it's very interesting. My life's kind of changed a little bit. For those of you who watched last week's stream, I pulled up my old turntable and got a receiver and speakers, and I've been listening to vinyl records for the past 2 weeks now, or whatever it is. And I've been scoured the record stores and got quite a few records. Got some of my dad's records and whatnot down here. So I'm listening to the music, and what I'm not doing is going to YouTube, which is where I was listening to music. Which reminds me, I need to get the Lumineers. And which means I'm not going to the internet. Hardly at all. Because I would go to YouTube, get some music going, and then think, I'm going to check my email. And then I check my email. Now I'm in the email. What's going on Facebook? Check the Facebook. Check the Discord. Check the whatever. But now without that YouTube gateway drug, I'm hardly getting on the internet unless I absolutely have to. I'm listening to the 12 records that I have behind me. I don't have many yet. Well, this I enjoy. I thoroughly enjoy coming out, and what I don't need to do is forget Discord, because I've been getting on Discord a lot, and it's a great way to just communicate where we are and what's going on and all that stuff, as Twitch is, and as I'm finding TikTok is. I'm enjoying TikTok, I'll say that, and that's probably another reason I'm off the internet, or off the computer internet as much, because I'm getting entertained on TikTok. I haven't had a carbonated beverage all month. Healthy eating's killing me. Yeah, you and me both. I've had to cut way back, and my wife has convinced me to walk 2 miles a day, and I do it after work, so 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it's always 7 million degrees. But there we are, stomping around like idiots. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. I don't care to exercise so much. I wish I did. That woman she has been diligently walking for 3 years now, I think, and I'm not the most healthy man, but I'm not an unhealthy man, she I have to jog to keep up with her. Her stride is so ferocious, and she's just moving right along, and I can sort of keep up with her, but after a few minutes I'm about 10 feet behind. I have to jog to keep up. It's really kind of funny. Cracks me up. Thank you to your wife for having you start. Yeah, it's a good thing. I'll let her know. Let her know you said that. And it's a good thing. And I've noticed in the past 3 months, 4 months, whatever, that I was getting sore all over the place, and sitting at this desk at this computer all day. I think as primates we're not supposed to be doing this. I think we're supposed to be bebopping around or whatever primates do, and then you throw in this god-awful chair I'm sitting in. I think I told you a couple weeks ago, some kind of ball, something fell out of the chair, big old piece of metal. So it's not working right. I avoid walking with my wife. She always turns it into a ratio. Well, Kathy would win against me hands down. It's great. Chasing food and gathering berries. Yep, that's all. That's all the primates did. I think that's what we're supposed to be doing. Yeah, we complain about work, but oh my God, can you imagine? That's all you gotta do all day. Of course, it would be pretty quiet too. I guess there's a trade-off. Oh, someone's Skyping me. Oh, where are we at? I got nothing, Tim. It's gummed up, probably. It's not working, Tim. So you're on your own. Let me close it and open it back up. Alright, but just for those of you wandering in, what the hell? This is Ask Me Anything. You have any questions about Troll Lord Games, the games we make, and all this other. Good Lord, there's a ton of Skypes over here that I miss. I don't know what's going on with my Skype. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there you go. I just said okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Just let it work. But anyway, if you have any questions, give me a shout. I have not had a chance to see Prince of Darkness yet. It is on my list. I made a little note. I may try to do that late tonight if I can dive into it. So we had Davis online here a second ago. Let me, if Chuck is here. He got bored and wandered on. There you go. There you go. We are running today's show a little bit longer. We're going to carry it past 5 o'clock today, wander into the 5:30 area time frame, and see if more people come in after the 5 o'clock. You know, everybody gets home from work or what have you, or clocks out if they're being. Will there ever be? I think I was saying something and I just droned off into nothingness. That sounds about. What was I watching? What was I watching yesterday? Someone was explaining something. Got tired of explaining and he just said, anyway. And he just wandered off. It was really funny. Will there ever be a 2E CNC rule set, or is this the permanent version? I like it the way it is. Yeah, no, there will never be a second edition so long as I'm in the chair now. 40 years from now I can't say, but no. I'm going to make, there's a very minor change going into the 8th printing. I think we talked about this on Discord, maybe or Facebook, I can't remember where, but I'm going to expand the list of spells that a druid can use, and not by a lot, by about 10 spells or so, given gust of wind, stuff like that. And the kind of earthquake, kind of nature-born spells. But beyond that, 8th printing, the rules have not changed in 8 printings, nor will they change. I have no desire to kind of redo all of that, and I think it works flawlessly as it is. I do remember years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, Matt Golden, who co-created Castles and Crusades, of course, with Davis, he finally figured out how to make one mechanic, a combat mechanic based on the Siege engine. And he was very, very excited about it, and he pitched it, and it was very cool. He'd written all of it up, and I said, "We're not doing that. We can put that in the Castle Keeper's Guide, but we're not doing a second edition because that will change the way the game plays." Plus, I like the combat system being separate from the attribute check system, but it is out there somewhere. But no, we will not be doing a second edition of Castles and Crusades. If there is a 2E, it needs to have Thaco. I still don't understand Thaco. So that's just not a good idea. It's good to be here. Martha might even say it's a good thing. Thaco only works if you have negative ACs. Are you guys going to team with Reaper for CNC minis? He asks while painting a Reaper mini. I absolutely love Reaper miniatures. We have absolutely tons of them. When we both went to Gen Con, Reaper and Troll Lord, we used to do this huge Sunday swap of books and miniatures. So we just have mountains of this stuff. Did that for years and years and years. We sponsored ReaperCon for a while too. I would love to see some Reaper miniatures. I keep toying with the idea. We'd have to find a good sculptor, but toying with the idea of doing 3D miniatures for Troll Lord games and going that direction. Tom Tullis, very, very good friend of mine over at Fat Dragon Games, of course, has a past master of 3D printing. So I would love to lean on his knowledge and get like all the character classes to have miniatures for those. For those of you who've been gaming for a while, the old Ral Partha miniature character class miniatures were just cool, and I think it'd be very cool to have miniatures that you could print at home for CNC. But I haven't looked for a sculptor in quite a while. If you know one, really go to 3D sculpture, 3D printing sculpture, let me know. Let's see, CNC question, do you have rules, guidelines on challenge rating or encounters? From what I can tell, it is pretty open-ended for creating encounters. I like it that way, just pointing out how different that is from what I'm used to. You know, I swear that somewhere Mac and I put together, hey look, Mac has joined us. Mac and I put together a small, simple chart of CLs and their basic difficulty. I swear that we did, and I would have thought it was in the CKG, but I just went over the CKG page by page last month, and it is not in there. So I'm not sure what my brain pan. We have put out so many books and so many. It's probably in the Crusader magazine, maybe. I just thought of that. Maybe it's in one of the Crusader magazines. But we don't generally, the whole kind of philosophy behind Castles and Crusades and the Siege Engine is to let you do all of that and let you figure out what's difficult and what's not difficult and where you want those CLs to land, mid-range or high range or what have you. And then as you adjust your game, change your game, or change your style, or do a different type of stuff, you're not kind of constrained by anything. And that's really one of the big driving elements behind Castles and Crusades and the Siege Engine, was to let the CK run the game however they felt they wanted to run the game. So as few restrictions as possible, and as few, canon, as little canon as possible, so people don't feel like they're, beholden to some rule that's stuck out there. So yeah, there is nothing like that, except I swear we did something. I just don't know where we put it, and we may never put it anywhere. It may be in this drawer of half-baked ideas that I've got down here. So I'm thinking this usage of flawless is some sort of euphemism. There you go. Let's see. Good afternoon. Hey, Green Lantern, how's it going, man? Reaper has a new plastic they're using to make minis at their own factory. I really like the Bones USA models I've gotten so far. Yeah, Reaper's got their own mold injection machine. It's absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love everything over at Reaper. They have brought their business home to the United States and doing it outside of Denton, Texas, manufacturing here. I think that's fantastic. And you're right, they're not doing the lead or the pewter. Did they switch to pewter? Did someone switch to pewter? I can't remember. There was a lot of controversy over some kind of the amount of lead you could have in a toy that caused problems and blah 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 blah. I posted a PDF in the Facebook group. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Was that for me? I'm not sure if that was for me. Wait, I paused the chat. So, dinkus. Very different that Pathfinder, which gives all sorts of rules and guidelines on CR of everything. Yeah, I just don't. I think I remember we had a long conversation about this. We had a long conversation about this in the design phase. We really wanted, one of the things that our table did early on under Advanced Dungeons and Dragons back in the 80s, mid and late 80s, when me and Mac and Charlie Sifford and Todd Gray and Mark Sandy and later Chris Harris joined us, when we were running it, we began shifting the game in the way we played. We just kind of made up rules and shifted and changed stuff to however we wanted. I think really the only core thing was the hit dice and the armor class, the descending armor class, or whatever the hell that's called. But and so we wanted to carry that same kind of philosophy over and make sure that everybody could easily embrace that once they started playing Castles and Crusades or Amazing Adventures or whatever. And I think that's what's happened. I think a lot of people out there dive into the game and realize that it's theirs once you purchased it. The Siege Engine is really, it is what we say it is. It's simple. It's easy. There's a learning curve in how you use it, but actually mastering the Siege Engine is very simple. It's a great game. Mac and Davis did a fantastic job putting it together. Who is this Corvus with minis in their belly? I have no idea what that's in relation to. I missed something. Best minis I've ever seen came from Corvus Belli. I don't know how you say that, but I've actually never heard of that. That's interesting. I kind of fell out of the miniatures market years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I really don't know why. I quit I think because I have 8 king jillion of the damn things. Did I pause it again? What is the hell going on? I don't think that I kind of just backed off of the whole. You got so many, and I'm not painting any of them, and I can't paint them even if I wanted to paint them, because I'm horrid at it. Man, is that it's just a good beverage. If you haven't had Dr. Pepper, you should have a Dr. Pepper cold from a can. It's just a good beverage. At any rate, we're here for Ask Me Anything, so if you have any questions about Troll Lord Games, the industry, Kickstarters, products that we make, products that other people make that I might have some kind of insight on, probably not. Throw your questions up in the feed, and we'll hack through them. We're going to run a little past 5 today to about 5:30, and just see how that goes. Just have a slightly open field here. And for those of you, and I'm not sure, I don't think there's any way for us to post it here. Tim or Chuck, if you're still lingering around, we sent an update out today with a new layout. I guess I could do it here in the thingamabob, can't I? I'm always here, says Chuck. Yeah, aren't we all? So I'm gonna throw a picture of, just read the Kickstarter update. I love the new class chart layout. Excellent. That's what I was just about to say. Green Lantern. I'm going to try to get. Chuck, you going to try to get it up there? I put an update out for the Roads to Adventure, which is the Player's Handbook Kickstarter, we've got the layout. Still needs some tweaking. A little bit of color needs to be fixed and whatnot. But we kind of debuted that today. So, do we have a present to win the raffle today? They told me what it is. Hold on, I can find that. I can find what it is. Bigger, stronger, $30 coupon in the store. I'm talking to Chuck real quick. I have 4 images here. JPEGs for the update itself. I think I can do, see if I can remember how to do this. Alright, so if I do this, and I do image, and I do X, and then I do that, and then I do this, and then I do desktop. There. Yeah, so he'll be we're gonna get this up here. There. Is that view? Can everybody see that? That is the That is the fighter page there that you'll be able to see. Okay, so yeah, good deal. Yeah, that's what the first page. Now the fighter will be 4 pages long. I'll almost guarantee that every one of the 13 classes is going to be 4 pages long, and it'll have a picture, a male and a female picture of the class in each one. We've done all of those, but there's a few that I'm going to back off of and have them redo in the next couple of weeks. So, Tim's out in the wilderness. And no fiber optics yet, Tim. Yeah, so we'll have a much more friendly, I think, and information accessible player's handbook. And that's partially to bring it into line with what's going on in the markets today, but also just to make it, there's so many new people joining the hobby, it would be nice for them to see that, see something that's very easy to dive into. And if you compare that layout to the original first printing, it's absolutely crazy, because the first printing is just blocks of text with indented paragraphs. Something I prefer, but I'm an idiot. Thank you, Lucid Macabre. Very much appreciated. I'm pretty happy with it. We're like I said, a few tweaks, but it's got all the information that you need. But do we have to be here to win? I got my Tuesday game starting before then, if all goes well. I have no idea. Let me ask. Hey, Chuck, did they have to be here to win? Chuck, did you see that? I assume so, CH Wolfgang. But I think surely we're going to do the raffle before 5. I believe so. Thank you, Josh. I'm pretty happy about it. I just really want to get it done now. Now that we've kind of settled on it, where we're going, I want to get the whole thing wrapped up and out in print. We're rationing these things out because we only have a couple of boxes left, and I'd really like to get these things done. Any updates on the CK screen since last week? LOL. I'm not going to stop asking. Keep the pressure on. I think it's conceivable that late this week, depending on the warden, the warden has been plagued with some kind of cloud of radiation that has caused almost every part of that Kickstarter to have some minor or some major difficulty to overcome up until this, like yesterday, just, when I finally decided to bail and take the 1 broadside down, the 2 broadsides down to have them printed by a guy I know down at Images Printing. I got the flash drive, I put the files in the flash drive, I went to the truck, I sat down, I said, nope, go double check your files. Went, opened the flash, came back in, put the flash drive in, checked it, both files were there. Went, took it down to him, and it was the wrong files. I have no idea. I have a vague idea of what happened, but it's just the warden's It's just the warden. it's just hounding us across the. So hopefully by late this week I can do that setup, and then all I really have to do is set the outer file up, right, with the art, and make sure it's crimped the right size, and then run it on the printer on this new paper, which I have. I don't even know where I put it now. It's somewhere in the mailroom. And see, and if it works, I can throw some water on it, and if the water doesn't destroy it, then we're good to go, because I can make them at that point. But we really do need to get the screens back into play. I guess that's a euphemism. I don't know. I just got back from an appointment. Can you start again from the top? Bloodball. Yes, I can. I have no idea what I've said. So, so you're on your own. Thank you, Melkor. I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm very happy with it. Yeah, I think Peter and I went through about 9 versions before we finally kind of settled on this one. So it's very cool. Are you going to use the new art from the new C-Key guide on the screen? Yes. So the 2 panels will be the player's handbook, the new player's handbook on one side, and the new CKG on the other side. The only thing that kind of bounces around, rolls around in my head is I really like the outer screens that the players can see to have the weapons and damage and armor class. It's just kind of handy charts when you're playing and you can't remember what your Becti Corbin does, so you can look at the outer screens and see it. But we'll see, because when you do that, you got to cover up part of the art, and then that becomes a whole thing, and then you get this kind of visual mess that's going on, and it doesn't look good. It just looks like you covered up part of the art. So, but we'll tinker with it. Trying to think. Those things are 16 inches wide, so the panels are 8.5, and you got a 1/2-inch gutter between the 2 panels, so 16.5. That's right, because it's 17 inches for the wraparound. Now it needs to be 18 inches for the wraparound for you get the bleed on it. Yeah, in each of those panels. Yeah. So I was thinking in my head what we could do is with the original AD&D screens were really cool. They had that kind of picture centered on the 2 panels, and then charts on either side of them. Was it orange or yellow? It's an orange, I think, which is really cool. Okay, so. Looks like we'll be drawing at 5:20 Central Standard Time, and you do have to be in the room. Yes, I was thumbing through the 5e Player's Guide to Aired last night. It looks like our hard college is actually an Assassin's Academy. Was that just part of the 5e adaptation, or do you have murderous bards in your game? I'm sure that's part of the 5e adaptation, but we do have murderous bards in the game. I tend to want bards to be more aggressive. I tend to want everything to be more aggressive than it's written, but I don't really like the idea of bards just being kind of musicians who inspire other people. They really need to be something more so than that. And I like the idea of bards using their abilities to manipulate, steal, take, what have you. So yeah, there's quite a few guilds in the guild book, wherever that thing is, where the bards are a little bit more aggressive. And Jason Vey, who I believe wrote that part of the Player's Guide to Aired 5e, he loves the bard. It's one of his favorite classes. So I'm certain he put that together and rolled that out. It's good stuff. All bards should be based on MacGyver. Yeah, there you go. I don't know, I can't even think offhand who we did as an archetype for the bard. I don't know what would be in my head. I know there's plenty of characters out there, or fictional characters out there who are bardic, or who are based on the concept of a bard. But I'm really not sure who, in Tolkien, who would be a bard, or any of the Conan stuff, Fafhrd and the Grey Mouse, or even Game of Thrones. I read all of that. I'm not sure who a good bard would be. Maybe Littlefingers in Game of Thrones is a bard. Tom Bombadil would be a bard. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting trying to come up with the archetypes, and of course that's how we wrote when we wrote the classes and designed the classes. Each one had an archetype that we went with. For instance, Aragorn. The reason we went with fighter being a strength-based class is because we based it on Aragorn. Aragorn's definitely a ranger, but I mean the ranger being a strength based. He's definitely a warrior, but he's a ranger also. So we went with his kind of warrior creed as opposed to, or you could even say the Deerstalkers. Is it that's his name? Who's Natty Bumpko? Hawkeye from the Last of the Mohicans Deerstalker Pathfinder series. So we kind of based the ranger on that as opposed to just someone who tracks and lives on the edge of the forest. So as the bard, I'm not sure who I would land the archetype on. I like Tom Bombadil as a concept, but he's almost like a god, so it's kind of tough to bardic him up. I was thinking Hawkeye for MASH. Yeah, maybe not Hawkeye. He might be a bard. That might. Well, what came to mind when we started talking about this was I don't know the character's name, but Johnny Depp's character in the pirate movies, the Pirates of the Caribbean, whatever it is. He might be a bard. Not really. I don't think so. I remember the first edition bards having to be fighters and thieves and then starless bards. I absolutely love AD&D's version of the bard. I thought that was so cool. You got to be a 5th level fighter and a 7th level thief. So you've got these skill packages before you even enter into the arena that are just cool and set you on a definite course, which I absolutely love that concept. We didn't carry through with that in CNC. I'm really not sure why. I think really the bard kind of falls out. It's like the assassin and the monk. It kind of falls out of the purview of classes that we very routinely play at the table. Grimer Wormtongue. There you go. Yeah, Mac Muddles hit it in the head on a nail. No, he hit the nail on the head. No, is that right? Yeah, nail on the head. Grimer Wormtongue. So there's a perfect bard. He's used his language and all of that stuff to convince Saruman and to be the condiment for Saruman to convince King Dingleberry that he's old and weak and whatnot. The leather stocking tails. There you go. Yeah, I don't know why I was calling it Pathfinder, but it's the leather stocking tails. But I'm not really sure why we didn't follow an AD&D pattern on the bard. Well, Mac can't. I think Mac's driving right now, so for those who don't know, that Mac Muddles right there. That's Mac Golden, and he co-created Castles and Crusades with Davis, and co-founded Troll Games with me and Davis way back in the Woebegone days. But right now, I'm relatively certain he's driving his car, so he cannot text very much or answer very many questions. He's been on the Crusader podcast a couple of times. You should check those out. CNC Bard is my favorite. We homebrewed them without magic or for AD&D. I want to say the original idea was from a basic D&D version in Dragon magazine. That's interesting. I do like the fact the Bard in Castles and Crusades is strong. I mean, he's got a D12 hit points. I think that's right. Or D10. I think it's D12. So the Bard can take damage, and that's I like it. I like the Scald from Adventurer's Backpack better than the PHP Bard. The Scald is kind of my version of what a Bard is like, because everything that I do, I make it a little bit more violent than perhaps it should be or needs to be, and that's where the Scald is. The Scald is actually somewhat inspired by this, it's Scottish, I'm pretty sure it's a Scottish band of drummers. You can see them on YouTube called Carandanian or I don't, whatever. Great music, but their lead singer is usually shirtless and he's muscular as all hell, and he's just so, I don't know, aggressive in his drum playing that's where the Scald came from. Captain Jack Sparrow. Yeah, I'm not sure if he'd be a bard or not. Probably not. Probably a rogue or something like that. Silver John the Balladeer. I'm not sure who Silver John is. John Silver has some fish places. Sorry I missed the last few minutes. Internet issues. Yeah, Drumbar, it happens to us all. Ever since I've had this fiber optic put in, it's been kind of goofy. Is someone Skyping me? What's going on over here? No, okay. It is possible to be on your phone if you're hanging around for the drawing, which will be at 5:20. So if you're gonna leave after 5 o'clock, get on your phone and you can enter in that way as well. But you do have to be here. You do have to be here in the room. And we are going to roll over at 5 o'clock today. We're going to run into about 5:20, 5:30, something like that. Let people getting off work dive into the stream and see what's happening. So Mac, if you can hit the pedal a little harder, you might be able to get. There's no way you're going to get to the house before 5:30. Maybe, I don't know. It's got to be close. I know you got a hell of a drive in front of you and behind you because you've been doing it for a while. Let's see, what are we doing? All right, as I said a couple of times, but I'm Stephen Chenault, for those of you just joining, CEO of 𝚃𝚘𝚘𝚕𝚔, Games, and this is Ask Me Anything. If you have any questions about, I can get this picture off of here. This is irritating the crap out of me. Is that X? Yeah, if you have any questions about 𝚃𝚘𝚘𝚕𝚔 Games, Castles, Crusades, Amazing Adventures, any of the stuff we do, industry news or whatever, just pop them in the stream, and we'll do our best to hack through if I don't yawn myself to death. Manly Wade Wellman was about Silver John, who roamed the Appalachian hills. His guitar had silver strings. There you go. I have never heard of that. That's interesting. Silver John. That's funny. He would definitely be a bard. Silver. But did he have any other skills at Lucid? Was there anything beyond his silver stringed guitar? Extra time to answer movie questions. Yeah, we haven't gotten to movies yet, but we have time. I actually haven't been watching much reruns of My Name is Earl, and I'm in season 7 of the X-Files, and I picked that back up last night. Episode 15 or 16 or something like that. I haven't had a chance. I just haven't found any movies that have really appealed to me. They're great stories, appendix in stuff. On the fighter page displayed, did anyone mention that the archetype header is misspelled? I'll make a note of that for the new one, because the old one, where's my little thing? Where's my little... I don't know, it may be fixed, Bloodwild, but we haven't gone to print yet, so anything and everything that you discover in the 7th printing, please God, let us know. What did we get? We got something back from the printers the other day, and some fellow right after, like 2 days later, gave us this list of like 8. They were small edits, but I thought, if you do this before we go to the printer, it's easier to fix. Archetype fighter. All right, good deal. Is that on the example that I just sent you? Is that? Oh, I can't read all that crazy shit. Yeah, I can't read all that. That's exhausting. Let's see. I am working on my own project called The Palace of 1001 Rooms. Very cool. When you are working on something like the PHP or whatever, how much time do you just dedicate to the project? How many hands are on it? Well, in the beginning, it was really just me and Mac Golden and Jason Walton, and Peter Bradley didn't join us later. The artist Jason Walton and Peter Bradley. Now projects go through a wide variety of hands. If let's just say for like the Adventurer's Backpack, I wrote the Adventurer's Backpack, and then I kicked it to Mac, and Mac did some light editing on it and made comments, this works, this doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. Then I kicked it to Davis for the same thing, and then it went into at least 2 editors' hands. Tim usually gets a hold of it at some point in that and kind of goes over, because Tim kind of knows, like Mac, how I write, and it kind of goes through all of that stuff. In the meantime, Peter Bradley and Jason Walton are doing the art while that's all happening. So it probably... I would say any one project has between 3 and 7 people on that project, to include editors and artists and whatnot. And now a lot of these people are not permanent employees; they're just contract laborers, that we hire to do on spec jobs. But depending on the projects, man, sometimes the Castle Keeper's Guide took 3 years to do that book. It's a 350-page book just filled with all kinds of stuff. The Adventurer's Backpack, once I actually got into it, probably only took 6 months to actually write it, and then another probably 6 months to produce it. So it takes, at death rate, it takes longer than I want it to, which is kind of an ass-end way of saying that it takes a while. Because in my head, I envision if we're all working on these things, we should be able to do it pretty quickly, but there's so many elements that go into writing a game book. It's not like writing fiction. I've written a bit of fiction for 𝚃𝚘𝚘𝚕𝚔 Games, and the fiction, you write it, and I send it to whomsoever is reading it, and they edit it and give it back to me, and then I do a reread. But game books, from mechanics to making sure it actually works, to making sure it reads correctly so that whoever gets it can play it, and then you have to play it to make sure it actually plays correctly, and then those corrections have to go back in to make sure everything's kind of rounded out. And then you get into, it was easier 20 years ago because layout was a very simple, straightforward thing. It's not anymore. And the layout has now become part of the graphic design process, It's something that we have to fight here all the time. Back in my day, we did things different, and so for me and really a lot of the guys here at Troller Games, we really have to kind of retool to make sure that we're doing something a little bit different than what we've done before, because the market's changed, things have changed, everything's changed, which is good. I mean, it's just the way the market is. So it does take, I would say, a decent game book, a year to 2 years probably from conception to actual production. I think that if the whole crew was doing absolutely nothing on June 1st on Monday, and then I said, let's write and do this book, we probably could get it done faster, but it's never like that. And if you're on your own, Death Ray, it's going to be a lot of hours. Definitely get your table together to play test what you're doing. But it can be a lot of hours poured into it, sitting there, blood, sweat, and tears. When Mac and Davis developed the Siege engine for Castles and Crusades, I can't remember now, and Mac, he can correct me if he doesn't flip his truck driving. At least 6 months of rules development. I mean, because they live next to each other, and they just would go, after their day jobs. I was the only one full time with the company. They would go back and forth, just kind of going over rules. And now they could do that because they didn't have to run the company or anything, because I was doing all of that. So they could take their time and develop it. But even so, it was a very complicated process, and they worked like crazy on it. I just remember lots of emails that I didn't read. Do you ever miss the old black and white books with line art? Yes, I do. I'm torn on that stuff. I was looking at some layout of some of these 5e books, and they're just gorgeous. I mean, they're eye-popping. I won't go so far as to say works of art, but they're works of art. Whereas the old black and white stuff, the stuff that we grew up with, Melkor back in my day, it's very functional, and it gets the point across, and there's a nostalgic value to it, but it's text heavy and it's dense, so it's kind of tough to kind of read some of that. That said, I haven't read what's in these works of art. I haven't gotten one and said, what does this actually say? Sorry about that. What does this actually say? I know that I had this discussion with another publisher that TLG needs to make sure all of her monster entries on the same page, and there's no way we can do that. There's the monsters I wrote, the monsters and treasures are long, with many abilities and descriptions and personality traits and habitats and ecology, and how to integrate them with the world of Arid, or how to play them in your own world. So you have all of that stuff, and you can't fit that on one page. There's no real way. It's the CKG, this layout that I just showed everybody with the player's handbook. We didn't do that in the Castle Keeper's Guide on purpose, because there's no room. If I had done that, if I had spread everything out in the Castle Keeper's Guide like we're doing in the player's handbook, it would be a 600-page book, because you're doing less dense, text on the page. And the CKGs I don't want it to be that big of a book. The binding doesn't work. There's just multitudes of problems with that, from pricing to binding, and I didn't want to do it. So the CKG is probably Melkor's close to that as we're going to get, but yeah, I do occasionally miss it. How much playtesting do you do, and do you playtest everything, Starship Board, for example? So it depends on some of the spells. I think when they get written, they don't need much playtesting. A lot of our spells, and this is intentional, is left open to interpretation. So the spells get a little bit of play, not much. Occasionally we'll run it at a table once or twice. Character classes, we generally will play them at least once. But the nice thing about the character classes, like in the Adventurer's Backpack, because Mac wrote the character classes for the Player's Handbook, when I did the character classes for the Adventurer's Backpack, he did one, I think Davis did one, a couple of people helped me, Jason maybe, I can't remember. He was able to kind of go through it and see where it's balanced with the 13 primary classes from the Player's Handbook. So the playtesting on that, we playtested some of them, but by and large that didn't need that much. We did have a group, someone ran all of them and found some horrible problems with one of them. I can't remember, I think it was the Oath Sworn, there was some horrible problems with one of them. Whoever gives themselves, maybe it's the Scald, whoever gives themselves armor class. because they could get their ACs through the roof. Game mechanics, on the other hand, get play tested pretty heavily. The last game side of things we did was Jason Vay's Amazing Adventures 5e, and he play tested the living hell out of that thing. I know he did that. We play tested CNC quite a bit. We had a whole bunch of people doing that, but yeah, I would say if you're coming out with game mechanics, definitely do quite a bit of it, but it kind of varies. Magic items, not at all. You can, because you can take or use them or whatever it is that you want to do on the magic items. Let's see. I think the newer books look amazing, but nostalgia makes the older stuff my favorite. Yeah, that's kind of I kind of lean in that direction. When I read mostly history books that are kind of laid out very simply. The company I'm working with now is currently a year past the original release date. Hopefully, it'll be out soon. The team is 5 or so people. The number of delays that hit any project are astounding. Just absolutely astounding. And we've talked about some of them here. Some of them are just weird. There's nothing you can plan for a book that's not bound correctly. That ate up 3 days getting that. And it's going to eat up more because I got to go through and do damages. It's just a mess. That makes me feel less bad. Well, I'm glad. Death Ray. That's Bloodwild's comment makes you feel less bad. Yeah, it's one of those things. You work at it, hammer away at it, give it your all, so long as it's a passion, and don't even worry about the hours. Just make sure it plays well before you're ready to kind of roll it out. And it doesn't have to play perfectly before you roll it out, just so that it has kind of coherent stuff. And I would recommend getting some kind of art feel to it. Is that the third Dr. Pepper you have cracked open in this screen? If so, I would recommend DPA Dr. Pepper. No, this is the same one. It's only the one. But man, is it good. It's getting kind of warm though. You got to drink Dr. Pepper pretty quick. M5, yeah, that's one of the things that. So M5 says, I missed the ecology info in the indie editions. Glad to see this in the TLG books. It's one of those things I'm just not going to drop. Davis and I are both big on the ecology of monsters, making sure they make some kind of sense of where they are and when you encounter them. And you don't have to use it, but if you want that information, it's nice to have that information. So that's definitely here to stay. Plus, I kind of like writing it. I know Davis does too. We're going into bonus time. Is that where we are? What time is it? 5. We have gone into bonus time. So for those of you just joining us, I'm Stephan Chenault, CEO of Troller Games. We're going to run stream until about 5:30 today. And this is Ask Me Anything, so ask any questions you may have about me, the company, the products we make, the Kickstarters we're working on, and so forth and so on. To wrap up, I forgot, we did not play the Starship Warden. We played Star Siege. That was play tested by Jason and crew, but the Warden itself was play tested by Chris Clark and Jim Ward and his group. So no one here in this kind of nest did. No, Jason did, so I suppose that counts. I'm interested in the world annual subscription. Does anyone in chat have a first-hand experience with it? Is it worth it? The sub cost. I'll leave that to chat. Let's see. Blah 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 blah. 2 more questions. What's the rough release schedule for this year, and what do you have in the works? So you need a can koozie to keep you. No, I don't ever use. Tim has bought me many a koozie, and I've never used them. The Dr. Pepper has to fit firmly in your hand. There's a religion to drinking Dr. Pepper. For me, anyway. So, the release schedule over the next several months is pretty aggressive. We've got the Monsters and Treasures of Erin 5th edition. Nope. Monsters and Treasures of Erin 4th edition coming out with the archive box set. So those should be actually coming into the store next week, maybe the week after. Tim and I were talking about that yesterday, but probably next week. Everything kind of depends on how far we get on the Warden this week. I don't want a bunch of orders coming in for that and interrupting the shipping of the Warden. So it'll probably be next week, but maybe the week after that. 2 weeks after, in 2 weeks, we'll release the Starship Warden. That'll come rolling out about that time. The Castle Keeper's Guide should be hitting us about 2 weeks after that. So in July timeframe, say mid-July probably, the Castle Keeper's Guide 3rd printing will be released. That should be followed by the Player's Handbook 8th printing by late July, early August. And then with the Player's Handbook will come the Player's Archive and the Adventure Spellbook, all in August timeframe. And in and around about that same time, the NPC Almanac and the NPC Almanac box set will also be released. So that'll carry us through August. Now, August is going to be extremely aggressive the summer's going to be very aggressive for us. We've kept up a pretty heavy pace so far. And then once these things are kind of out of the way, are out, we can shift gears. After that, we're going to do a Kickstarter on the Robert E. Howard art collection books. So art history, it'll be 4 volumes covering all the art in the comics, or any comic book that dealt with R.E. Howard. And the second volume will be novels, third volume will be, I think, volume 1 and 2 is comics, then novels, then the pulps. So this huge art history book, that won't be out this year, but that will be a Kickstarter that we are working on. And then after that's done, we're going to move into the Planescapes material. I haven't actually laid that schedule out, how I want that to go. The first part of that should actually be should be going to the printers next week. Now I'm changing the title, but Of Gods and Monsters was promised in the previous Kickstarter. We will wrap that up. It's done, other than 3 pictures. That's all I need, and that book is finished. They should be here by Friday. And then we're going to release that to everybody. And that book should come out probably in August and July timeframe. I haven't quite decided on how I want to print that. And then once Of Gods and Monsters is out, that's kind of the touch off for the Planescapes books, which we will plunge into for later in the year. And that will include Alstrad material, Planescapes material. I'm missing something. There's a whole slew, and then we got Amazing Adventures 3rd edition. Tied in with Venus and all kinds of stuff that's going on with the world of Gary. So a pretty aggressive year. A lot of the stuff's going to end up tumbling into 2022, I suspect, because 2021 is already half done. But that's where we are. It's going to be a crazy summer, and it's not going to slow down. That's a good thing. He left a chat, but so far no answers from chat. Yeah, there you go. I can speak a little bit about what's offered over on World Anvil, Doran's. So essentially everything that we've published adventure-wise and World of Erd-wise is up on the Anvil. There's several layers of subscription. If you get the highest, you get access to everything. If you get lowest, you get kind of the introductory to everything. But you can dive into the world and explore the world and start playing it with just the regular $5 or $1, whatever it is. And it's got all of the maps. It's got tons of material. It's got stuff that we've gleaned from books that have long since fallen out of print. They've gone up in there. It's just all kinds of filled with stuff. I'm summed up to World Anvil. You must be one with the pepper. Yes, absolutely. The doctor's orders. Phantom New Jersey has an upcoming CNC campaign that will be streamed. He posted about it on TLG Score, just a friendly reminder. Do we have a time on that, Blood Wild? So people can watch CNC unfold and play. Can't wait for that book. I'm just super excited about everything we're doing right now. Would you recommend the World Anvil? Okay, that's for verbal Jim. Okay, so that's a conversation exit. Someone is answering you. Very good. Thanks for the free subs. Why do I should go whole hog? Blah, 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 blah. All right. Just more information tumbling in there. I am Steve Chenault, CEO of Trollard Games. If you have any questions, give me a shout about company, products we make, things we've done, things we haven't done, things we do well, things we don't do well. Just throw them in the feed. I'll do my best to unravel them. But it really feels weird that we've had an entire AMA going on for an hour and 8 minutes, and we've not talked about movies hardly at all, if at all. I think I mentioned one earlier, and we didn't pick it up. Somehow we gotta shift this Ask Me Anything into a movie discussion. Somehow. Thanks, Steve. I'm sold. I'm going to use my monthly government check on the TLG Patreon. Sorry, in July, having kids now pays me back. There you go. Whatever works and however it works. It is a world out there. Any plans for additional content for Victorious? I'm not sure what happened. We had V2 scheduled, slated. I approved the maps, and I don't know where we are on that. I turned that over. Mike Stewart's a good friend of mine. He's a great guy. His wife is actually a graphic design lady and cartographer. She's very talented, and she was going to take over that. And that's kind of just fallen off the wagon somehow. I'm not sure exactly why. I need to reach out and figure out, because I love the game. What I would like to see is Victorious brought into line with the Siege Engine more carefully in line with Siege Engine, and if we do another printing of it, we'll have to do that. It'll need to be in tune with the Siege Engine so that you can walk your character from Castles and Crusades to Amazing Adventures to Tainted Lands to Star Siege to Victorious without any without any problems whatsoever. Let's see. I think I missed something in there. Any plans for additional? Yeah, okay, so I got that one. And thanks, Dorns, for jumping into the World Anvil. We appreciate it. Let us know what you think. And if you have any comments on making it run better, please reach out to us and let us know. Let's see. I rewatched Snow White and the Huntsman. I forgot how that is a very good movie. I enjoyed both of them, actually. I really, of course, I love Charlize Theron. I love Charlize Theron. And they're just good movies. They're just good fantasy movies that don't go over the top or any of that goobly-goo. Let's see, I know Phantom NJ will be posting an update on the Discord, but the first session is slated for July 5th. So very cool. You can watch Castles and Crusades unfold here on July 5th. That's very cool. Black Angel on YouTube. Yeah, there was a Blondie comment that I missed somehow in there. Movies featuring Blondie songs. Yeah, there you go. There's probably a lot of them. And she did a couple movies, didn't she? I think Deborah Harry. I know she's in at least one. I know I've seen her in one movie when she was older, in the 90s maybe. It's nothing like Deborah Harry. In fact, of Black Angel on YouTube. It was lost but now found. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Mac, but I'm going to look it up. Wait, what's going on? Where's my YouTube? See, I don't go to YouTube that much anymore. So I got this crazy record player going on. Let me pause that before that craziness. Let me just kill that. Black Angel. Is that a song? Oh, Black Angel. It's a short film. Alright, I'll have to check this out, Mac, see what this thing is. It looks like it's got a knight on a horse, so we'll check that out. Very cool. She was in Videodrome in the 80s. Oh, wait, I missed something else. Twitch is getting twitchy. Mac. Mac, our bot killed you. Man, Chuck, Tim, you guys should inform your bots that Mac co-created Castles and Crusades. You can't ban Mac from the from the stream. It's just not right. He also reads everything we do, so that's just funny. Sorry about that, Mac. The computer got you. That's just funny. That's too much. Unfortunately, blah 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 blah. Oh, I don't know. I'm driven it. Okay, head in here. Very, very good. Very good. Cancel culture cut back. Whipped down. It's just the new world. It's the new world order, man. It's all coming to an end. Oh, there you go. At least albums are smaller than books. Your house is going to sink into the ground. They're easier to move around. I have to tell you, though, I got a little hungry when I first got the record player. I happened to just... I got ELO's Time, which is a fantastic album from the 70s. One of my favorite albums. It's one of those that almost every song on it is great. It was the first record I went and bought when I went to get some records. I had a list of 5. And that got me hungry, so I ended up buying about 5 or 6 records that I know I'm not going to listen to because it's got one song on it or 2 songs that I like, and the rest aren't very good. So I've had to take a step back, catch my breath, because I'm enjoying the music so very, very much. So I'm taking a step back and buying a little bit more cautiously because, as you know, Tim, I don't want to end up with a mountain of crap piled around me that I have to get rid of or that I don't know what to do with, 2 years from now or whatever it is. So I'm being pretty circumspect. I did order Kim Carnes' Mistaken Identity today, one of my favorite albums. Almost every song on that is a fantastic, fantastic song. How long has your Aired campaign been running, Steve? I know you've mentioned it before, but I can't remember. So we did 2. The big game that kind of created Aired began in 1985 or 1986. I think it was 85. And it ran up until very recently, but we kind of quit playing it about 2001, 2002. But a game that I'm running right now started right after Castles and Crusades was released, started in 2006, so it's been running for about 15 years. And they're about 15th level at this point. I think Chris finally made 16th level. But so it's been a very long game. Actually, we were playing the other night, and I turned to Chris and I said, "Man, I don't know if we're in our 50s. I don't know if we got many more of these long campaigns in us, and he goes, "We got at least 2." So I guess he's planning on living until he's 80. So so there you go. Hopefully that'd be great. Swords and rolled away. Swords and Sorcery has the blah blah blah. I'm reminded of a tale where a listener called into a radio show telling him he was driving by a Black Angus restaurant, but the G was burnt out. Yeah. No one needs to eat there. Swords and Sorcery has this ever been released? The Swords and Sorcery was released only as little rule sets in the back of Fantastic Adventure, Vakund, and Mortality of Grain in the year 2000, and only debuted at Gen Con 2000. We may have sent those to stores. Now, Mac, if you're still there, you may be. You were running things then. I can't remember if those versions went to stores. I think they did. I vaguely remember we had some issues because the covers were detached. The forces, but as a game itself, it's never been published. Chunks of it have been written. I found some files on Sword and Sorcery a couple months ago, tucked away somewhere, all in Davis's longhand and whatnot. The force is not strong with Mac Muddles today. He's probably going in and out of service, would be my guess. ELO's time was seminal to my childhood. Court Jester, absolutely. I don't know what it is about that. And for those of you who aren't, you should go to YouTube. The full album's on there and just listen to it. It's got this great song that begins, "Remember the good old 1980s when everything was so uncomplicated." It's just, it's an absolutely fantastic album. And I have to say that every song on ELO's time is just, so this is the album here. Every song on this album is just a good song. Absolutely love it. Listen to it all the time. I listened to it for about 4 days in a row before I started getting more records. The Crusader podcast folks posted a copy on their website. I've had the same thought recently. I'm not sure what that is too. Probably some rambling. Yes, a CD-ROM from Mac Muddles. Sword and Sorcery cast a spell on the 19th. Oh yeah, it did come out on a CD-ROM, didn't it? I forgot about that. So we did release the original 4 with the detachable covers that were not D20 based and they were not CNC. Obviously, they were Swords and Wizardry. We released those into distribution. I want to say, yeah, that's right, because we printed 2,000 of each. I remember that's why we did the World of Aird, because they told us if we would do 4 books as opposed to 3, then they would give us a discount on the printing. And so we put together the World of Aird very quickly. Short little, I got that sucker around here somewhere. I use it for reference frequently. Yeah, so here's the original World of Aird. Little bitty 24-page, little blue book. Very cool stuff. That is now this gigantic 300-page full-color book. Very cool. And that's one of the things that's on the docket is to redo the World of Air. We're going to repackage it. I'm pretty happy with the way the discussion so far. Fleetwood Mac Rumors is another Every Song is Great album. It is. I need to get that. Absolutely love. I love Fleetwood Mac. I actually really like Stevie Nicks too. I think she had one album that I really, really liked. It's hard for me to kind of remember to go back and find, because I haven't listened to albums in years. I've been listening to playlists on YouTube for, my God, it must be 7, 8, 9 years, if not a decade. So I'm so far removed from purchasing records again that I'm having to kind of reteach myself how to do this. Yeah, because as you remember, when we did the records in those days, and the cassettes, 8 tracks is a little bit before me, but 2, 3 good songs, 8 or 9 or 7 or 8 bad songs. Not bad, just not great songs. Blue Oyster Cult, now I've ordered these. Blue Oyster Cult's Cultosaurus Erectus and Blue Oyster Cult's Fire of an Unknown Origin. I've ordered both of those. Super stoked to get those in, because those 2 are albums, great albums from cover to cover. Just good stuff. The comedian said that back in the 70s, every house in the suburbs was issued a copy of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. I sure loved it. That's probably true. Edge of 17, whatever album that is on for Stevie Nicks. That may be it. It's been so long. I used to really, really listen to Stevie Nicks in the 80s, early 80s. Kim Carnes, Stevie Nicks. Man, that's quite a few of them. Blondie, of course. Pat Benatar. Oh my God. I got a Pat Benatar album. I think I played it here on the stream last week. Pat Benatar is just... She doesn't do bad music. She just does not do bad music. Cars is great. Steve Miller Band, love that. We got 5 minutes till the drawing, I am told. I thought we were drawing at 5:20. Doesn't matter. We got 5 minutes until the drawing. Let's see, the basis of my education was reading the liner notes inside the album covers. I actually pointed that out to my daughter the other day. She was talking about lyrics. I said, look, in the olden times, back in my day, and you got it, like right here on the ELO. There's your lyrics, all right there. The good old days. They're not good old days, they're just old days because we're older. That's all there's to it. Stevie Nicks Belladonna, that could have been it. I'll have to look. One of the things I've decided to do, start going to YouTube, pulling up the album that I'm curious about and going through and spot checking the music to see how much I'm enjoying it. Because I don't want to end up with a whole bunch of albums that I'm not going to listen to. And that stuff drives me absolutely bonkers. Can't forget Heart. Man, Heart had some great tunes. You say that word Heart and it instantly summons a couple of their tunes into my head. I mean, they really just had just good music. I'll sit out this raffle since I won last week. Can't be greedy. Well, thank you there, Statler. the gang appreciates it. I was busy listening to Miami Sound Machine. Don't judge me. Hey, man, I listen to a lot of Devo, too. Not sure I'm going to get a Devo album. Crazy on You, yes. Not sure I'm going to get a Devo album, but I probably will. I absolutely loved Devo in the 80s. Devo and a band called They Might Be Giants. Just really good, crazy, loopy music, whatever. I've always liked eclectic stuff. And then I've got to figure out, there's this album from the Lumineers. I don't know if they have an album on it, but it's called Cleopatra. It's this kind of 4 songs that they do together that tell a story, and it's absolutely astoundingly great, fantastic music. And I want to try to get it on an album, see how it goes. I'm digging it pretty good. Oh, yeah, I have nothing on 8-track. Ultra Magnus. I do remember, I never had an 8-track. I was born in 67, but my older brother Zane, he did have an 8-track. I do remember Zane's 8-track, and he had a whole bunch of those things. So Zane really gets to span all of it, right? 8 tracks, cassettes, albums, CDs, digital. He has all of that stuff. ABBA has some great. Super Trooper, my favorite ABBA album. Absolutely love that. Dune soundtrack is very good. Line in the Winter, the original Line in the Winter score is absolutely fantastic. Willie the Rat, I knew it. I knew you'd like some Devo. Devo's just a great band. We're through being cool. It's just a great song. The Sugar Hill Gang, there you go. Falco, man, Falco. What was Falco's song? Amadeus. Rock Me Amadeus. What a great song. Art of Noise was good. Yeah, too bad you can't get 12 records for a penny from Columbia. Yeah, I think those days are gone, man. David, I think that's a long time ago. The Hooters, just because I wanted to say it. There you go. Trying to think, I got some Joan Jett. What else I got over here? Of course, country. I listen to a lot of country music, and I'm fixing to rob my dad. My son brought me down some Johnny Horton, which is great. Johnny Horton's tunes are just fantastic. My brother racked up an $80 bill that my dad fought. Good God. Yeah, you remember all those the book companies. You could get 5 books for $5, and then you had to order one a quarter or a month or some kind of craziness, and then a year later you owed $200 to knuckleheaded book companies or some shit like that. The good old days. I'm late. Did you buy a new album so you can listen to more than Blondie? Gotten a couple, but I've had to order a few. I got some Joe Jett and some Pat Benatar, couple of other things. Slade. There you go. I need some guar. That's what I need. But yeah, I'm slowly getting more music. Oh, I did. And I gotta say, Paul Simon's album Graceland. Man, is that a fantastic album. I picked that up the other day. Just fantastic. I hadn't listened to that thing since 80 whatever. And it's just, it was just, I love Tom Petty. Queen, I can't decide. I love Queen, but I can't decide if I'm going to listen to Queen. I think Queen is one of those bands, when it comes on the radio, I love it. But I'm not sure if I'm going to listen to the album. I'll probably end up getting some just to experience. I love Def Leppard. Pink Floyd, I'd kind of take or leave, but I love Def Leppard. Tom Petty. The first time I heard a song fade out, thump to change tracks, the fade back into the middle of the song, I swore I would never ever own a track. To reference some of the girls of the 80s, Duran Duran and Rick Springfield, there you go. Rick Springfield's one of those guys. That one, Jesse's Girl, is a fantastic song, but I don't think any of his other music is that good. Paul Simon's like a real, yeah. Paul Simon, like, he kind of elevates the whole the whole thing. I've tried Rush. I didn't listen to Rush as a kid. Of course, mostly as a kid I listened to country music, but I can take or leave Pink Floyd. Chuck is not amused with my Pink Floyd comment. Rick Astley, there you go. Moving Pictures is one of the best albums ever. Moving Pictures. Now, is that Rush? Thank you, Green Lantern, Canadian content, Supertramp. There's some good stuff there. I got some Kansas, and of course, Leonard Skinner. I was listening to Leonard Skinner this morning. Absolutely love Leonard Skinner. Just too many. Freebird, Sweet Home Alabama. Just all kinds of good stuff off of that. Let's see. America. He was great in Californication. The Spice Girls. You know, I do like Pat. I'm not Pat Benatar. I love Pat Benatar. She doesn't do bad music. Dire Straits is great. But I actually do like Britney Spears. Britney Spears puts out some great music. I think, are we doing this? What are we doing? Did we do the raffle? What's happening? Listen to Pink Floyd on her trip to Dragon Con, LOL. Mac remembers that. Mac and I went to Dragon Con every year for about, 8, 9 years or something. Lots of music on those trips down there with cassettes in those days. That's funny stuff. That's great. Alright, yeah, let's do this. What are we doing? We gotta do a raffle. I gotta get out of here. Everybody's gotta go get some food, and then we're gonna raid Blue Box. So, picking the winner. Okay, Tim is picking the winner on the Rush is like jazz for rock and roll fans. Great musicians. I'll have to check more Rush out. I guarantee you, Willie, if I listen to like 3 songs and go, oh yeah, that's Rush. I'll almost guarantee it. Alright, quiz to whatever, quiz to K. You have won, it looks like. Congratulations, that's a $30 coupon, I believe, for the TLG store. So scoop up whatever you want. That's not that's not how you spell my name. And Team of my work did a playlist with everyone choosing 3 songs. Mine for the guilty pleasure was Britney's Rolling Stones cover. I can't get no satisfaction. Nice. She did a song called Is it Work It Bitch? Something. Work It. I can't remember. And Womanizer. I absolutely love those 2 songs. She just cracks me up, especially the ones who would eat the tape when they reversed. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that too well, where you pull the cassette out and just your music would come out with it. The good old days, or the not good old days. All right, I think that's it. We're fixing to raid. Chuck, are we raiding? What are we doing? Yes, we're going to raid. I want to thank everybody for showing up. It's another great stream. Sure appreciate it. I'll be back on Thursday at 4 o'clock and doing Jim's Tricks or Trade. Join us there. We're raiding Blue Box now. Everybody, y'all have a great rest of your week and have a blah, blah, blah. Take it easy, blah, blah, blah. Take it easy, everybody. Alright. I'm still streaming, so I think we're raiding, though. I don't know what's going on. Alright, I'm going to stop the stream. Alright, everybody. Wait, hold. Are we raiding? Chuck? I don't know if anything happened. Hold. Nope, we didn't raid. Okay, so we're going to do it again. So, yeah, stop, he says. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. So hit raid now. We got... There's nobody left here. Alright, I'm going to stop streaming. There, take it easy.